I knew something was wrong the moment my thumb tapped her name and the call didn't even ring, just went straight to voicemail, like her phone had been powered off or thrown into a river. "Emily, call me back," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Please." It was day 1. I didn't panic on day 1. Married people argue, drift, take space. At least that's what I told myself as I sat in my car outside the grocery store, the plastic bag with the frozen chicken slowly sweating beside me. I stared at the screen until it dimmed, then locked, then reflected my own face back at me, tired, confused, already afraid and pretending not to be. By day 2, fear felt like a low-grade ache behind my ribs. I left messages that got shorter, sharper. I texted her sister, her coworkers, even her gym. Everyone said the same thing, "Haven't heard from her. I'm sure she's okay." They said it like reassurance, but it only made my pulse spike harder. No one knew anything. No one had seen her. And no one was asking the questions that were drilling into my skull. Where did she go? Why didn't she take anything besides her purse? Why didn't she tell me? That night, the house creaked in ways I swear it never had before. I walked from room to room, touching her things as if they might offer some clue, a scarf draped over a chair, her favorite mug still by the sink, her slippers beside the bed where she'd left them the morning she disappeared. The bed looked too large without her, like some wide, silent thing waiting to give me answers it didn't have. By day 3, I stopped pretending. I filed a missing person report. I sat in the station under harsh fluorescent lights explaining how she'd been distant lately, how she'd started sleeping with her phone under the pillow, how she'd stopped laughing at my jokes, not even the bad ones. The officer wrote everything down, then gave me a practice nod meant to say we see this all the time. But I wasn't sure he saw this, the way Emily's absence felt like a punishment for a crime I didn't remember committing. The 4th day was the worst. Silence hurt more when stretched that thin. I checked our bank account every hour. Nothing. No charges, no transactions. I stared at the front door expecting it to open, expecting her to stumble in with some unbelievable story about being stranded, mugged, anything. But the door didn't move. Not once. When the 5th day came, I sat on the couch in the dark, the TV off, my thoughts loud enough to drown out everything else. I thought about the fights we didn't finish, the apologies that never really landed, the moments I brushed off thinking they didn't mean anything. I thought about the way she'd started dressing nicer for work, the way she pulled away when I touched her shoulder in the kitchen, the way she stopped humming in the mornings. Grief for someone who might not even be dead is a strange thing, half hope, half horror. It was nearly midnight when the door finally clicked open. She walked in like she'd only been gone an hour, like we hadn't all but torn the town apart looking for her. Her hair was messy in a way that wasn't quite natural, her cheeks flushed, her breathing shallow as if she'd run from the car to the door. She smelled faintly of cologne that wasn't hers. Or mine. I stood so fast the blanket slipped off my legs. "Emily." My voice cracked on her name. "Where the hell have you been?" She froze, keys dangling from her fingers, her eyes sweeping the room like she was bracing for impact. Then she shut the door slowly and dropped her purse on the table. "I needed space," she said quietly. 5 days of space? Without calling? Without a text? "The police are looking for you. I didn't ask you to do that. That's not, Emily, people don't just vanish." She looked at me then. Really looked. And something in her eyes made my stomach twist. It wasn't fear. It wasn't guilt. It was resolve. "My life," she said, the words falling out cold and steady, "is not yours to manage." The sentence hit like a slap. I stepped back. "That's not what I do." She inhaled sharply, like she didn't agree but didn't have the energy to argue. She brushed past me toward the hallway, but I blocked her path. "Where were you?" "Nothing." She didn't blink. "Emily," I whispered. "Don't do this. Just talk to me." But she walked around me like I was a piece of furniture. She went into the bedroom and closed the door. I waited 30 seconds, then followed her. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, hands clasped, staring at the floor. I could hear her breathing like she was counting inhales and exhales to keep from breaking. "Tell me," I said, softer now. "Please." She didn't raise her head. "If I tell you, it'll ruin everything." "It already is." Her shoulders shook. "Barely. If I hadn't been watching, I might have missed it." "Who is he?" I asked. She flinched. That was the confirmation I never wanted. I sat on the other side of the bed, keeping space between us because I suddenly didn't know how close I had the right to be. My throat tightened, but I forced the next words out. "How long?" "Months," she whispered. I closed my eyes. Months. Not days. Not something new. Something cultivated. Something she tended to in secret while telling me she was exhausted, busy, overwhelmed. "Why didn't you just tell me?" My voice cracked again, weaker this time. She finally turned toward me, eyes red, face pale. "Because I didn't want to lose everything at once." She swallowed hard. "I didn't want to hurt you. And I didn't want to stop." The honesty gutted me. It was so quiet, so bare, so absolutely final. "Did you go to him?" I asked. She nodded once. I stood up because if I didn't, I might fall apart right there on the carpet. I walked to the doorway, gripping the frame until my knuckles went white. "That's why you didn't answer," I said. The pieces slid painfully into place. "That's why no one heard from you. You didn't want to be found." "I'm sorry," she whispered, and the words trembled like they actually meant something. "I didn't know how to come home." "But you did." My voice was almost a laugh, but not the kind that feels good. "You walked right back in like nothing happened." "I came back because I had to choose," she said. "And?" I asked, throat tight. She didn't look at me. She didn't answer. And somehow, that silence told me everything. I walked back into the living room, feeling each step like it belonged to someone else. I heard her crying softly behind me. I didn't go to her. I sank onto the couch, staring at the wall, trying to breathe through the ache spreading through my chest. When she finally came out, her eyes were swollen, her voice barely a whisper. "I'll leave in the morning. I'll stay at my sister's. We can figure things out after some time apart." I nodded, though the gesture felt heavy and forced. She went to the bedroom. I stayed on the couch. The house was quiet again, too quiet, but this time, the silence didn't scare me. It clarified something. She hadn't disappeared because she was lost. She disappeared because she'd already left. Morning light seeped across the floorboards when she walked out with a suitcase. She paused at the door. "I never wanted to hurt you," she said. I didn't trust my voice, so I just nodded. She left, and the door clicked shut, soft but final. The silence that followed wasn't hollow anymore. It hurt deeply, but it wasn't empty. It was honest. And for the first time in 5 days, maybe for the first time in months, that felt like something I could survive.